Okay, next question. Hi, Anthony. I'm training and racing a few years now. My question is, what techniques do you use to stay positive and keep a winning mindset? I really struggle with this. If I'm not seeing a really quick progression or not getting results that I wanted, I drop my head and get into a bit of a negative tailspin. I've jumped from sport to sport when I don't get these results or fall short, but have really fallen in love with cycling. So don't want to fall back into that trap again. And that's from Stuart. That's an amazing question.
Yeah, it's an amazing question. I can see how people are attracted to that question or that kind of thinking when you haven't been in sport that long. But if you think about anything you do in your life, whether it's the start of a relationship, whether it's the start of a new hobby, learning a new language, you're going to get pretty quick progress at the very start, but you never maintain that rate of progress. Like, it's impossible. You never maintain that steep growth curve. It's going to plateau and you're going to have almost imperceptible gains for long periods. And that's just the way it is. And you can look back and you can snapshot now. Like, think about the podcast, 1,000 episodes. Maybe the first 10 episodes when you're like, okay, I figured out how to connect the microphone. I figured out how to, edit.
This is a massive win. Yeah.
Well, you don't get big gains then from episode 200 to episode 800. But if you look at episode 220 versus episode 820, you're like, oh my God, that's a totally different product. It's the same with your training. If you go to the gym or if you're on the bike 3 days a week, whatever it is, those gains aren't going to be visible. So I would say you need to just focus on what you can control. And what you can control is your inputs. You can control how much you train. You can control your nutrition. You can control your sleep, your recovery. Control that stuff. And Dave Brailsford, the Team Sky brain child, he famously said, control the controllables. And that's what it is. Calibrate the effort and the improvement in these areas, and then the results will look after themselves. I also think you can set shorter term goals. So they could be, with cycling, it's easy if you want to put a power goal in place. I don't love those goals because it leads us to believe that a good bike rider is someone who can generate a lot of power, when it's a lot more nuanced than that. How do you move around the bunch? Economy, cornering. Can you take your raincoat off in a crosswind? Cycling's very nuanced, but you can definitely set short-term goals. Like, I love the goal of, well, did I ride more than 12 hours a week every week this month? Like, that's a lovely goal for me. So that's one I would encourage you. The biggest one, though, it's like you talked about there with your mountain biking, people saying, the people you're surrounding yourself with aren't clipped in. I would say that community is the biggest thing in cycling, and that's what's going to have you staying in cycling the longest. I honestly can't see a time where I will not cycle my bike. I maybe won't race, or maybe won't do gravel events. I'm always going to ride my bike. I'm always going to ride my bike on a sunny day. And I think that's just community, isn't it? It's having friends. Like, I'm going to go bike packing again this summer. Like, we're gonna do bike packing day. So we went last year. What did we do? 3 days?
Yeah.
Or we didn't 2 days last year. And we're gonna do 3 days this year. Yeah. So the plan is we're gonna add in one extra day each year.
Every year. Yeah.
And Sarah got a kick in last year.
I got an absolute hiding. At one stage, I just managed to roll up beside Anthony, and I was like, why are you turning the screws on me here?
And then we got to Kinsale, and we were having a little bit of a boo.
I have my traditional cry after every hard day on the bike that I have. But yeah, I think for me with this guy, like, okay, so he wants to, he's fallen in love with cycling. So he wants to kind of get some longevity out of this sport, not just like, okay, I'm racing, I'm going to win, and if I don't win, if I don't hit this goal, then I'm a loser. Well, it sounds to me that you need to also like do what Anthony says, but maybe have a little look at your attitude and your relationship with exercising and performance, and why they are so kind of caught up and you have to be a winner. Why does that matter so much when you found something that you absolutely love? And as I said, you want to have some longevity in it. So try and maybe, as you said, stay with a group, stay with clubs, try and pass down some of your knowledge to other people and get some like joy from other parts of cycling rather than just performance and winning.
Because if it's about winning, you're in the wrong sport. Like if it's football, it's a binary outcome. For me, you win, you lose. You're going to win 33% of the time. In cycling, you're going to lose. The very best riders in the world, they're losing over 90% of the time. Yeah, so it can't be about winning. It has to be about something else.
That would be my advice. Just try and maybe Move your North Star a little bit.
So if you like this video, you should definitely check out this video because I know you're going to love it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.